Welcome back to Tales from the Shelf. The Warriors is an urban action thriller based on a novel from 1965, itself based on Anabasis, the Greek story of the Army of the 10,000. The film is about a New York gang called the Warriors, who are framed for the murder of a big shot gang leader and now must fight their way from the Bronx all the way to Coney Island while every other gang in the city is hunting them down. The Warriors themselves are portrayed as very, very morally gray characters. They aren't actively harassing people or committing major crimes, but they do still vandalize property and fight people when they feel threatened. They aren't good people, but they aren't bad people either. Some members more so than others. All of the gangs in the film have a style associated with them, which makes sense, but some of these gangs are just hilarious. One of them is literally a bunch of mimes. Then there's the famous baseball gang seen in most of the promotional work. The film is presented as if it were a comic book, with some transitions pausing and turning into comic art with narration panels. Pretty interesting for a film from this era. The film was, unsurprisingly, a bit controversial when it first released. There were reports of vandalism and violence related to the film, which the director, Walter Hill, believed to be due to actual gang members seeing the film and encountering rival gangs at the screenings. Thankfully, despite the initial negative reception, the film has grown quite the cult following. Critical reevaluation has been largely positive, and a director's cut was later released, which is actually the version I have due to it being more readily available. Interestingly, I've heard many people swear by the original cut of the movie. If you're interested in both versions, Arrow Video recently put out a version of the film that contains both cuts. That might be the way to go nowadays. The film also received a video game adaptation in 2005 by Rockstar, of all companies. The game follows the Warriors' rise before the events of the movie, but later follows the actual events of the film. The game was similarly praised and has become a cult classic in its own right, fittingly enough. I've even heard some people who adore the film say the game is better. Check out both if you're so inclined, I'd say. The film has inspired other movies as well, with one of the most notable examples being John Wick Chapter 4. The scene near the end of that film, where Wick has to fight his way across Paris in order to reach a duel, takes direct inspiration from the Warriors. The woman on the radio issuing a hit on the protagonist, other gangs and criminals trying to stop the heroes from reaching their destination, all concepts lifted straight from this film. The Warriors is a true cult classic in every sense of the word. It's a great film in its own right and has inspired so many others. I would recommend this film to anyone interested. Whether you watch the original cut or the director's cut, you're bound to have a good time. Guess the only thing left to say is...
Warriors, come out to play.